everybody. This is Chris Baker, the host of the podcast, Tell Me Your Story. Thank you once again for watching or listening. And today's special guest to tell her story is Miss Kelle Williams. And we're going to do how we always do. We're just going to jump right into this and talk about, where'd you grow up? Where'd your childhood start off?
Yeah, so I'm in the Cleveland, Ohio area. However, I did not grow up in the city of Cleveland. I actually grew up in a suburb. So I grew up in Parma, Ohio. And just a little backstory. Clearly, those that are viewing can see, but if you're not viewing, I'm a person of color. And I grew up in a city where there weren't a lot of people that look like me. And it was a very interesting time growing up. I will tell you, surprisingly, people think, oh, you grew up in Parma, you must have faced trials and racism and things like that. And I have to tell you, I did not until I was grown.
Really?
So I'm from the Cleveland, Ohio area, a suburb, the largest suburb of Cleveland called Parma. Yep.
Parma.
Mm-hmm.
And you said you faced kind of dig into that a little bit. So not much as a child, but it was more once you were growing up. And why
Mm-hmm.
why is that though? Why did I start targeting you then?
I don't know because again, so I grew up in Parma, and the city was predominantly white. There were some people of color, but in the area where I grew up, there were a lot of Asian Indians, and so that was the people of color. That was who we normally saw, and nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But growing up, I think it was because Parma had this history of racism, and there was a lot of people who were trying to overcome that and not be viewed, as the city as a whole, not to be viewed as like this racist city. So I believe in my growing up as a child, and just through my elementary school years, that my educators and the adults that were in my sphere, and even my friends, they did more of trying to make me feel included as a part of the community, and they did a great job. I felt totally part of my community. I knew I was different, but I still felt like I was a part of my community. My first experience with racism in that community, because that's where I grew up, so that's where I continued to live as I began my adulthood. And as I grew up, my first experience was with my daughter. So we will probably get into this, but I was a teen mom, and I had a daughter when I was 17 years old. So when it was time for her to start kindergarten, we still lived in the city of Parma. That's where I grew up, and that's where we lived. When it was time for her to go to kindergarten, we went to take her pre-admissions test. And the lady that was in charge of it was a much older lady. And she asked me a lot of questions that I felt were irrelevant to my child being signed up for kindergarten. And just a lot of questions that, I was 22. So, and this was my first experience setting up a child for school. So I didn't know what was appropriate to ask and what was not appropriate. But one of the questions she asked, now mind you, she had all of my daughter's information in front of her, where we lived, her birth date, namely. And so she asked me about her age. And I said, well, she's 5. And she said, well, when did she turn 5? And I said, well, her birthday was last month. And so when she starts in August, she will have had several months of 5-year-oldness under her belt. I think it was like the beginning of June. And so she just had a very disapproving demeanor. And so, mind you, I was young. I was 22 at the time. So I went to my job and I was sharing the experience with coworkers. And I knew that it felt bad. That whole experience felt really, really bad. And even the look in my daughter's eyes, knowing that there was something going on, but she didn't know what, and I didn't know what, it was just so disheartening, and it really made me feel bad. So instantly, when I told the people at my job, everybody said, oh my goodness, she was probably only doing that because you were Black. And so that was my first thought of, oh my goodness, am I being treated a particular way because of how I look, because of my ethnicity. That was my first real experience with that. And of course, I overcame it. My daughter started school. She was just fine. There was, no issues there. Um, then I had another experience about 10 years after that. My husband and I, at this time, we owned a home, and I noticed that at least once a week there was McDonald's trash. And this isn't a plug for McDonald's, and this is nothing against McDonald's, it just is what it is. But there was trash in our driveway, and it was just something that I noticed. Like, it just seems like, why is there trash? Not always, but I pinpointed to be once a week. Then I noticed it was always on a Friday. And I said, why on Fridays is there always trash in our yard? And so,
Well, hold
of
on.
course, it was.
I can answer that question for you. McDonald's itself, man, it makes you feel like trash.
Well, and so where our house was, it was right around the corner from a McDonald's, and so it wasn't unusual to see we were by a lot of restaurants, so it wasn't unusual to see refuse just floating around the neighborhood. Not like it was dirty or anything, but just here and there. But yeah, I noticed a trend, and so he didn't think he didn't believe me. Not that he didn't believe me, but he said, "You know what? Are you sure about this?" And so we tracked it for like a month, and every Friday we noticed this trash. So at this point, we called the police, not knowing what was going on, and the police told us to, if we're able to, because at this time, this was so years ago, we didn't have a video camera or anything like that at the time. But the police said, hey, if you can see if anybody is throwing trash out, call us right away. And so my husband, who is former military, he did more than that. He staked, there was a whole stakeout. And one Friday, I remember, he sat in his vehicle with the lights off and was watching early in the morning. And he got distracted, and the trash got thrown in our yard, and he wasn't able to get any of the information he
Come
needed.
on, one job, man, one
Right.
job.
You had one job.
Hey,
So he took off work for it and everything. And so he comes in the house and he's like, oh my goodness, I messed up. So it wasn't a mess up. I'm like, dude, you're gonna have to do this again next week then. And so next week he did it. Next week, he did not just get the license plate information, but he chased them down. He had the police on the phone the whole time. The police said, sir, you don't have to do that. But he did nonetheless. And let's just say it got a little sticky, but what we ended up finding out was that the people who did it, they were not from the area. And they happened to, this is so wild because we're African American. We're people of color. And the people that were doing it, they came from another county in the state, far away. They were delivery drivers, and they did a weekly pastry delivery to one of the ethnic bakeries in our neighborhood. And by ethnic, we lived in a very European, tight-knit European community that had a lot of Ukrainians and Polish where we lived in Parma. And so they were doing a delivery to this bakery. And we ended up going to court over it. It turned out to be a whole big deal. And they told on themselves because we had no idea that it had anything to do with us being, of color. And they told on themselves. It was a father and a son. And the judge flat out asked, why do you throw your trash in their yard? And they said, because we want all the N words to go back to Africa. Right? It's not funny. I was good and grown, and I was like, all my life living in this community that did legit have a history of racism, but overcame that and fought so hard to overcome that. Somebody from another county came in and tried to perpetuate that. So needless to say, the judge threw the book at them. They got charged with all kinds of things, racial intimidation, all kinds of things, the driver who happened to be the father, both of them were grown, by the way, but the driver who happened to be the father, he got jail time. He got 6 months in jail for that.
Ooh.
Yeah, there was no paying a fine and getting out of it. He got 6 months in jail. His son was held in contempt for 3 days because he was upset with the verdict or whatever. But yeah, that was my those were my only two experiences, being in a predominantly white city and being targeted because of who I am. So yeah.
Well, I can kind of relate in a way. Here in Sandusky, it's like, well, I'm in Norwalk now, but in Sandusky, it's divided. You got the whites, you got the blacks, you got the Mexicans, you got people that come from overseas. But anybody that's watching right now, we're all love. We all love each other. But
Yeah.
I didn't experience racism until I went to Florida for spring break. I went down to Fort Lauderdale, and I was staying with my cousin who was black. And I didn't really think nothing of racism. I never had any problems until I figured out when I was down there, because where we was at, it was all black. And so when I went outside, it was the first time I experienced racism because of the color of my skin, and everybody was hating me because I was white. And I'm not used to that at all, because like I said, around here we're all loving each other. We love everybody. Everybody clicks. But that was the first time I experienced that. I didn't have people throwing trash at me or nothing, but it was the first time I got a taste of it.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna speak for you, but I know what you for me, I had this like I legit just thought, oh my goodness, like first of all, you don't even know me. And you have no idea, like you don't know me. And it didn't feel good, but I think I handled it a lot better than maybe even I thought I would. I have to tell you, I'm also a woman of faith. And so, like you said about being in Sandusky, where, people just love, it might be separated, but when people get together, they just love on each other. Being a woman of faith, I felt bad for them and the lady at the school. It made me question, like, what happened in your life that it's important that you, first of all, bring out that somebody is different, and that to target them, do you feel better about yourself because you targeted them and made them feel bad? And so it kind of made me feel sorry for them. And anytime people do things to other people, I wonder, like, what happened in life that brought you to that point where you're not tolerant, you're not accepting. And I'm not even talking about being loving, that takes a huge step for some people, but just the fact that you can't accept that we're different, and that's okay. And honor that, I guess, yeah, I had that moment.
Hey, I'm white, but the hood loves me. Break
Yeah,
attention there, guys. Come on. It's all right. She's just telling her story.
I am.
So, was there any particular reason why they targeted you out of all people?
Because our house was the second house from the corner. And I think due to the proximity of McDonald's and them finishing their food, we just happened to be the most convenient. But he said that he saw him out taking the trash, because Friday also happened to be trash day. That's the other thing I did not mention in that story. Friday was trash day, yet we always noticed the trash after the trash had already been removed from the city, if that makes sense. So they had already come and, taken away, our week's worth of trash, yet this trash was always in the middle of our driveway. And so he said that he saw him outside and he felt that all N-words needed to go back to Africa. Yep. So no purpose. And I think that's probably why he got sentenced like he did, because there was not even little remorse. There was absolutely no remorse. And the judge mentioned the same thing that I said, that, this city has spent so many years overcoming a negative stigma not just in our county and surrounding areas, but in the country. And there's a reason why. I can tell you what that is in a moment. But they spent so many years trying to overcome that, and then for him to come and try and stir that up when everybody is living in harmony in the city. He said it will not be tolerated. Yeah.
Do you ever feel like right now? Do you feel like it's really kind of getting stirred up now that they're trying to turn us against one another, or how do you feel about that?
So, especially during when the pandemic first started, and we started, hearing the stories of police brutality and things like that. Um, I'm gonna tell you, I believe that happens everywhere, and maybe because we were all home and made aware and glued to our TVs because we were curious about what was happening in the country with COVID. We didn't know. Most the world shut down, and we just had access to more. Not that we had more access to information, but we were more aware of the access we had to information. And I believe that things have always been going on, but they've just been brought to our attention more. So because of that, and the heightened anxieties and worries that were happening during the time, I believe that added to the pot of worry or concern or care. I don't feel, and I could absolutely, I mean, this is just Kelle's view. I could be completely wrong in this, but I don't feel that there was more racism. I just feel that we were made more aware of it. That's how I feel. But I will tell you, I'm gonna tell you that a lot of the things that happened over the last few years, I'm kind of glad that they were brought to the surface, and that it really did create a movement for people to come to more of an understanding and have these open dialogues about racism and culture and differences, because not only did we see things related to, I'm going to say black and white, but we also saw the LGBT community and other communities gain attention in just wanting to be accepted for being them, for
There you
being
go.
creations of God,
Preach
and
it.
for just being here on this earth. And so, even as a woman of faith, and I know that there are several people that I'm going to use the word religious. I'm not religious. I just love Jesus. But there are lots of people of faith that also add into the mix of this. And ultimately, my thoughts about it are that we were all created by the same God, and he did create us differently. And who are we to judge and condemn and act wrong towards just because we don't understand or agree? If you don't agree, be quiet and keep it moving. If you don't understand, ask about it so that you can get clarity, and then you may agree or you may not agree, but that's okay, and keep it moving.
Come on now, preach it now. Preach it. Get into it. But you're hitting on so many points, though. It's so true. I'm glad that you brought that all up, so that people could actually, like, if they weren't seeing it, now they can see it from your point of view. But like you said, it's all how you see it, how you look at it, how just from that point, it's all up to you to make that
Yeah.
decision.
Yeah.
How are you feeling right now?
What do you mean about being Kelle? Just
Yep.
being Kelle with brown skin? Yes. So I love the skin that I'm in. And my husband and I, we just came back from Disney World with our children. And we drove. We always like to drive, and people think we're crazy because from Ohio to Orlando, from where we live in Ohio to Orlando, I think it was like a 15, 16-hour drive or something. We broke it up. But my husband and I, we like to drive because that helps us, that we connect when we're in the open road and just
Oh
looking
my
at the
God.
landscape of the land. Yeah. And one of the comments I made is that I love my life. I love my life. I love who I am right now. Brown skin and kinky hair. I love who I am. I love how I was created in my uniqueness. There is nobody like me. Each one of my children children have their own identity. Yes, they were born of me and my husband, but they have their own identity. There's nobody like them. And to live a life where I get to be me and be okay with being me and raise little children, and some of our children are older, but raise children to also be okay with who they are and how they were created. That's the life. Yeah.
And it's just awesome though that you see it at a younger age. A lot of people don't realize that till they're older. And the fact that you got that at a young age, that we're all made in the image of God. And
Yeah.
part of that, and a lot of people don't realize too, is God's inside of all of us. We have so much potential. I'm about to get into a preaching moment. I feel it. we're
Yeah.
we're all made in the image of God. But like I said, God is in part. He's part of all of us.
Mhm.
And the words "I am" are very strong throughout the Bible. If people were to actually believe what they're reading and fully take it in, you'll see yourself, like Kelle here does, transforming the whole life once you accept who you are and appreciate and know that there's only one you and God made you for that purpose. It doesn't get much better than that. And that's when the doors really start to open and the blessings start to flow.
Absolutely. And what you just said really, I mean, it absolutely resonates with me. That is something that in my community of coaches, I coach coaches, and I'm very active on a social audio platform. And that's one of the things that we talk about is knowing that we are unique in our gifts. We're unique. God created us for a purpose and a plan. And that can get kind of cliche, but it's true. And you said something that, if we believe, oh my goodness, what a challenge for people to really think about that. There's this Bible, there's this word, and we probably quote scriptures and tell people all the things, but do we believe it for ourselves?
Yep.
I was challenged even just this week. I had a moment. Paul tells us in Ephesians that the Christian walk will not be easy, and that if you make the decision to go the way of Christ, you will be faced with challenges. I mean, this is the Kelle version of it, but that's what he says, the gist of what he says. And even myself, now oh my goodness, I am a kingdom driven entrepreneur, coach, woman, and in pursuit of all things Jesus. And even I came across a situation where I was like, oh my goodness, what did I say yes to? Seriously. And I'm telling you, I'm being very transparent. I don't want the enemy to hold anything over my head and keep me bound in any way. I legit thought I had a moment where I was like, so being all in with Jesus means this. And I was at that. My crossroads was different than some of the other people who come to these crossroads where, there might be drug use or sexual immorality or some other thing. Mine was just thinking, oh my God, is this what I have to go through because I said yes. Of course, I continued on and I said, yes, 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 because Lord, you are my banner and you will fight for me and you win. But he's in us and he created us differently, uniquely, and the pursuit of him, the pursuit of purpose is going to be different for everybody.
And I think really a lot of people miss this too throughout the Bible. We are made in his like image. But when Jesus said, you just a mustard seed of faith can move mountains. Think about that for a minute. Take that in. Like, what was he actually saying? And then when he says it over and over again, your words that come out of your mouth, you're planting seeds, man. You're planting seeds. And then once you actually really, truly, like she said, believe what you're reading, you can transform your reality around you. Because, like I said, you're made in the like image of God. And how he spoke stuff into the cosmos, you can do it as well. As it goes into the New Testament, Jesus says it again. You can, if you're like Jesus and you do like his works, like what he said to his boys, the apostles, you'll do more than I. And once you truly accept that and believe that, there is nothing impossible to you. Mic drop.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for that. People absolutely need to realize that our words are so, so powerful. We are told that our words are like rudders on a ship. I think that's the right word, rudders on a ship. And they can, rudders, they have the potential to shift a massive boat in a different direction. And the power of our words can do the same thing. We have the power of our tongue to bless and to curse. Like we can bless and we can curse according to the Bible based off of what we say and what we believe and what comes out of our mouth. You're absolutely right about those seeds. Absolutely right. And here's the thing about the seeds that we plant with our words. And I've come to terms with this. I used to be like, oh, well, I said this thing, or, I gave you this idea, or I was encouraging to you. Now I wanted to see the results of what it was that I said. And God had to really work with me and say, no, 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 no. You plant the seed. Let me do the watering. And here's the thing when it comes to like plants. I don't know if you've ever started like seedlings, right? It's springtime. So I guess this is a great time to give this depiction. But when you start seedlings sometimes, or tomato plants are a really a good one for this. People will start it, right? And you see the little sprout and everything, but then you give it away because somebody's like, oh, you got tomato plants? I would love one. It doesn't have any fruit yet. You don't see the bloom of it yet, but it's the seed. You watered it a little bit, you gave it some love, and then you passed it on because you believe and you know that seed was planted in good ground and it will reap a harvest in the future. And we don't always have to see that. God had to show me that just because you plant the seeds with your words, Kelle, you don't have to see them bloom. You don't have to see them blossom and be okay with that. Just know that I got this. I got this. And so he really had to work with me on that. So now I just go plant seeds everywhere. And I just trust that that they're blooming and that God's word is really taking root in some people, manifesting some amazing, amazing fruit.
And here is a tough question that a lot of people will be like, yeah, I do. Are you trusting God 100%? Because a lot of people say what they read and they believe it, but are you truly believing it?
Yeah.
Are you going 50-50 with it? Are you at 75 with it? Are you actually 100 with it and know God has your back every step of the way?
Yeah. I'm going to answer that. I'm going to tell you, I'm probably 95%. I am probably 95%. God has brought me through a lot of stuff. And I have every reason to trust him. But here's where they're like, Lord, help me with my unbelief. Help me with my unbelief. There are some really big things God has told me that he wants me to complete. And of course, in my power, I cannot see how that's going to happen. And as much as I trust Jesus, I'm like, really, God? How? Really? And so that's where I say that now I'm 95% all in. There is a small portion of me sometimes when he gives me these directives, or I'm placed in these situations where I have to trust him. There are some times where I'm like, this isn't gonna work. How is this gonna work? It always works when I finally submit, surrender, and just let him know, yeah, okay, I trust you. But then something else happens, and something else happens, and something else happens. So I'm going to answer your question again for the audience and say, I'm at 95%. Sometimes there are moments where I'm like, yeah, no, Jesus, I hear you, but I don't know. I have those moments. I'm human and I'm still a work in progress. And if I had all the answers for myself, then I wouldn't need him for anything. So he always keeps me needing him.
Yeah, I mean that's really where it doesn't. You answered that really correctly because it's the truth, though. I mean, I think everybody, including myself, I could say that too, because like you said, sometimes that doubt comes in too, and no matter how Bible thumping or you are, it will get the best of you if you let it.
Yeah.
And my thing for people right now, I know I said it before in the past, but if you are around negativity, that is going to be into your thoughts. and it's going to play out into your life, and you're going to wonder why certain things are happening to you. It's because of that reason. But if you begin to listen to uplifting stuff, read uplifting stuff, be around uplifting people, and change your mindset to like positivity, it's easier said than done. But I promise you, you do that, your world will begin to transform. And then the more you dig into scripture and start believing what you're reading, your life's gonna change. And then I'd say the best thing for that person too, really, when you step into that world, is start to take on the spirit of gratitude and just be thankful for everything that's around you. Because when you do that, you get on a deeper level with God, and you really begin to appreciate everything that He's done for you. Because a lot of times we miss the blessings that are taking place right in front of us every day. Every day, just think about the small things that you don't think are big things, but if it really came down to it and something happened to you, it would happen. I mean, it would cause you to think like, wait a minute, this was always a big blessing happened to me. Just think about like this, if you don't quite understand what I'm saying, is you wake up every day in your bed, right? The first thing, what do? You open your eyes. That right there is a blessing to be able to see the world and everything around you, to be able to hear the birds chirping or the cars passing by, depending on where you're at, to be able to speak like how I am right now, to be able to smell, to be able to feel it, just the touch on your skin, the air, the cool breeze. Yeah, it sucks some days when it's cold or it's raining, but be thankful that you can feel that. Be thankful for the clothes that you're wearing. You're not walking around naked. You get what I'm saying, though. I don't want to go too deep into it, but that is the spirit of gratitude. And once you begin to just appreciate the small things, which are really big things, that's when your life starts to transform. And then God opens the door for you for bigger opportunities, bigger blessings to flow into your life. Don't believe me? Try it.
Yeah, you the what I thought about when you started saying that about just showing gratitude for the small things. So first of all, God is in every single detail. Every detail. He is in everything. And so in that I'm like, well, if he doesn't trust you to be grateful for the little things, how can he trust that you're going to be grateful for the big things? Oh, he's in everything. And I agree. Just the air that we breathe, the fact that we can open our eyes. Because I say this on usually when I pray in the mornings on a prayer call that I'm on, somebody was expecting to wake up this morning here on earth, and that didn't happen. And so the fact that anybody is listening to this, the fact that that person was able to have access to listen to this, Wi-Fi, cell phone, computer, whatever, however they are able to even just hear this, that's a blessing not to be missed. Fact that they woke up this morning with breath in their lungs, it's a blessing not to be missed. Yeah, I for one, I wake up every morning. First thing I say is thank you, Jesus. The first thing I say. And I'm gonna tell you a quick little story. Um, I watch something, I'm careful about what I watch and what I listen to. Like you said about that negativity. And I watched a series, I'm not gonna name it, many years ago. And when I woke up, the first thing I thought and said was a comment about the show that I watched the night before. And that's when I realized, oh my goodness, that disturbed my peace, because I realized in the mornings when I wake up, my first thing is thank you, Jesus. And it is so important that we surround ourselves with positive people, positive, uplifting music, what we read, what we watch, the type of conversation that we entertain, that we surround ourselves with positive things, so that it gives us a reason again to be grateful, to tap into that joy, see happiness, pursue peace even more. So yeah, you were on it.
And to get a little deeper for a moment, as we're sitting here, just take it in. Look around you. Look around you. And look at all the beautiful things around you. and how awesome God is, because believe it or not, He put this idea in somebody's head at one time, and that's how it's even possible. I'm gonna leave it at that because I can get really deep into it, but this is your story.
Yeah, he's the creator of all things, and I just get excited about that. Yeah, all the ideas, all of the questions, even makes me curious. Like he makes me curious to know more about just life. And my life, of course, is connected to him, but yeah, he just makes me curious, and he's just the creator of all things, and I just love that.
The most beautiful thing I always hear is just knowing that He had a plan for me before I was even thought of. Before the earth was even thought of, He had a plan for me, a purpose. And not just me, but also for the people that are watching and listening, and also you too. And if you allow Him to do His part, man, allow Him to come into your life and renew it, transform it. It's your choice, it's your free will. But I promise you, when you do, like I said, the blessings will flow. The blessings will flow.
Yeah, I you said it.
All right. Before we get too much into the church session here, let's go back to your story. So we were talking about your early childhood. Kind of give us a taste of what your school experience was, what it was like.
Yeah, so I grew up in a family where I grew up with my mom and my stepdad, but I definitely had a relationship with my father. I used to go visit my dad every week, every weekend, yeah, every Saturday, and so I had a great childhood growing up. There were some times though, my mom, as I'm older now, I look back and some of my thoughts and memories I forgot about. I forgot about for many years. But I've had some memories where, we can all pinpoint that one instance in our childhood that we feel was kind of transformative for us. And for me, I talk to my husband about this often. Being a stepmom, I have bonus children, as I like to say, in addition to biological children. I'm very aware of, and with my biological kids, them not feeling dismissed, because growing up I felt like I was dismissed a lot. I was the oldest of my siblings, and I would get excited, mom, let me tell you, and she was tired, and just I do I have to hear it now? Like I felt like I was a burden a lot. When I guess that might have been when I was maybe about 10 or 11 years old. And I grew up, it made me feel like the only person I could trust in was me. I couldn't trust that an adult, my mom, who I loved, would want to hear me, would want to be informed of good things that were happening in my life, like with school and even some of the sports I was in. She didn't really come. I ran on track, and she didn't really come to my meets. My dad, my biological dad, who did not live with me, he came to every single meet that I had, track meet. But in that I began, and I grew up in church and stayed in church I've been in church my entire life. I've been in the church building my entire life. I've dipped my toe into the world, but still went to church. Many people probably know what that was like. But you heard me say that I had a baby when I was a teenager. So my first inkling of freedom, I got the boyfriend, and then I got the baby. Still in church, okay? But I was a straight A student going through school. I'm very proud of that. I don't know why. I'm still so proud of that. But as a straight A student, even after being pregnant in school and having a baby in school. Graduated top of my class, got full scholarships to college. And when I graduated high school, I had a 1-year-old daughter. I did go to college, and then I had another daughter, very shortly after. So I had two children. I was still a teenager when I had two children, but I managed to complete school, and I even have an advanced degree at this point. But um, I remember when I was in my early 20s. So I'm taking you through my childhood here. But I remember when I was in my early 20s, because like I said earlier on, I coach coaches, and I remember going to college and people asking, how do you work full time, go to college full time, and you got two kids? Like, how does that work? You're a single mom. How does that work? And all through college, I found myself coaching. We didn't know that's what it was called at the time, but I found myself informally counseling people on how to manage life, how to, stay in faith when things look bad, how to rearrange and pivot when chaos is entered. Now, mind you, I'm like in my early 20s on this. And I'll never forget, my mom was babysitting for me one day. I was finishing, I had finals. It was end of the semester, and I was excited because I decided I was not going back to school the next semester. And I shared with her that I wanted to be a motivational speaker for women on a one-to-one basis. It was coaching, but we didn't know that's what it was called back then. I wanted to be a motivational speaker and talk to women. And she says, oh, we'll just be a counselor. And I said, no, because I don't want it to be like therapy. I just want it to be encouraging and uplifting, and I wanted to help them. And Chris, you will not believe what my mom said to me. I'm laughing to keep from crying, but my mom said, she says, Kelle, no, mind you, she loved me. She loved me. She did not mean any harm in saying this, but she said, Kelle, girl, you are crazy. What are you thinking? Nobody wants to hear what you have to say. You better stay in school. Yeah.
And hold on, I want to jump in here real quick. A lot of times when you're chasing a dream, your biggest doubters will come to the people that are most closest to you. But you have to make the decision for yourself. Are you going to believe them? Or are you going to keep going after your dreams? That's your choice. And for the people that are dealing with that right now, go after your dreams. Do it. I promise you, you'll enjoy it. Don't let them defeat you. Don't let them tear you down. As badly as, they want to kick you to your knees. Don't do it. Don't listen to them. Do what your heart is telling you to do, and keep going after that dream. Because that dream is God's purpose for you, your gift. And that alone is your seed inside you. But you allow that to blossom, man. That seed will grow, and it'll open so many doors for you, opportunities. Don't believe me? You'll find out for yourself. Go ahead, continue. Get deep
So
over there.
I needed you back then. I needed to hear that back then. And there was nobody else in my life to say that. And so, as you can imagine, okay, yeah, that was stupid of me. Why would I think anybody would want to hear what I had to say? After all, I was a teen mom. I had two children. I wasn't married, right? Why would anybody want to hear what I have to say? And let me tell you how tormenting that was for me. It was the hardest thing to day in and day out come across people who needed encouragement from me and look towards me and ask me for my thoughts and my opinions, wanted to hear what I had to say about a situation in their life, and to know deep on the inside, I had something for them. Yeah, I dealt with this conflict with, well, who am I to talk to them about this? And I dealt with that for many years. So much, in fact, I remember going to church about 3 or 4 years after that, mad at God, mad, crying out on the altar about why I existed. Why did you create me? Because there's so much in me, and I don't feel that I have the freedom to express and help and serve the way, God, that I know you want from me. Why did you create me then? Because this sucks. And for about 3 or 4 weeks, it might have been a little longer than that, I struggled. I was so mad. And I was like, I'm living right. At the time, I was living right. I'm living right. I'm focused on you. Why? How? Why? Where are you right now with this answer? And I was not getting it. And then I got it one day at church. I remember being at the altar another Sunday, crying, leaving, mad because God didn't answer me that day. Mad, okay. And there was a lady that at that time I used to go to a really big church, and there was a lady that I didn't know her, but I'd seen her before, and she runs up to me after service, and as she's running, she was smiling so big. And one thing I didn't say is that I also hated my smile. Now, I currently have braces, not because I just hate my smile so bad, but because I had one tooth that was crooked. So I wanted to fix one tooth, and I have a whole mouth full of braces now. But I really didn't like my smile at the time. And for her to smile at me, and then I smiled back, of course, because that's what you do. She said to me, she goes, "There it is. There it is. There's that smile." And she hugged me so tight. She was like, "I needed that today." And she hugged me so tight. I'll never forget. And I'll never forget the way she made me feel. I don't remember her name. I don't remember who she was. I don't even know if I even knew her name, but I will not ever forget the way she made me feel. So after we let go of the embrace, I said, "Is that why you created me, God? To smile?" And so I went home and I looked in the mirror and I smiled or tried to smile, and I couldn't because I just broke down in tears. I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. Not look at myself in the mirror to put makeup on and do my hair and all that, fix my jewelry, but I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror to smile. And in that moment, in tears, he says to me very softly, "Hold your head out and look." I held my head up and I looked straight ahead in my own eyes, just crying. And he says, "I have called you to encourage." That's all he said. So I said, "Okay, well, you're telling me that you called me to encourage." She's talking about my smile. So I began to work on my smile. By that, I mean, I just began to look in the mirror and just start to smile until I got okay with my smile. That happened. Okay. That happened over time. It wasn't easy. And at first, 10 seconds, and then I couldn't do it. Then 30 seconds, then I couldn't do it. Eventually, we got to the point, Chris, where you can't keep me out of a mirror, with the smiles. But I realized that, yeah, he called me to encourage. And at that time, it started with the smile, but then it began to, help people with their business plans. Then I teetered with helping people in their life, because remember, in the back of my head, nobody wants to hear what I have to say. So I was, okay, I know you're telling me, you said that you called me to encourage. That's what you said. So I'm going to go with what you said. And it was a faith walk, and it took a lot of trust in believing what he told me. No Bible was involved. But it was like I heard an audible voice, and I had to trust that. And I began to trust it. It did not happen overnight. It took many years. But then the moment came where I was like, "Lord, we need to revisit that conversation that I had with my mom so many years ago." And in that, I just simply asked, "Why?" And again, it was revealed, she didn't know. She was speaking out of love, but Satan absolutely used her to plant a seed with her words that shut you up. And I was, told that it was a lie. And Satan's plan is to kill, steal, and destroy. Now, all those years, my mouth was closed because of something somebody else said that was a lie. My mom loved me. I know she would not have wanted, me to feel so tormented. I know she wouldn't have, but nonetheless, I did. And so my mom ended up passing away. Her and I never got to I never got to have this conversation with her about what she said and how it impacted me. But I'm so okay with it. So I can talk about it very openly and freely right now. But at this point, Chris, people cannot shut me up.
I
God said
know. Jeez.
yes, he told me that he's called me to encourage, and I look for every opportunity to do so. And even this whole trust thing, sometimes when I'm face to face, especially now in the online space with clients or potential clients, he'll say, you got to tell them this. They need to hear this. And I'm like, no. And he's like, yes. And I'm like, no. And he's like, yes. And because in the back of my head, sometimes I still have the very faint thought of they're not going to want to hear what I have to say. And it's not about me, but it's about the God in me. And boy, when I just yield, say yes, trust, and let him use me as his mouthpiece, people are very glad that they got to hear what I had to say. So,
Now, now, my question is for you: have you felt that a few times here today, just on this show? Like when I spoke to you a few times, could you feel it in here?
that you wanted to hear what I had to say?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what you
Yeah.
call God working.
Yeah. 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 He sends, I'm telling you, Chris, on the daily, and I hope I don't start crying. If I do, I got tissue nearby. But
Okay.
on the daily, he sends me reminders, and I didn't get these reminders every day. So I know that he's calling me to a different place with sharing and talking and encouraging by saying things. I know that he's calling me to a different place in this because every single day, more times than I count, it's confirmed. No, I'm saying what needs to be said. People want to hear it. And even when I even give this disclaimer, you might not want to hear this. Guess what? They want to hear it. So and it's not about me. This isn't about me. This is just about expressing, yeah, this is just about expressing the transformative work that God has done in my life. I am helping others to overcome by my testimony. It's not about me. It's about expressing his grace and his love, his favor, his undeniable passion and compassion for his children. And he uses me to do that. And I'm honored and I'm excited because I know that there is more to come. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what that looks like. So I'm trusting him in this. Yeah.
Like I always say to everybody, man, it is only just the beginning. When you get on that path, man, the righteous path, I want you to understand too, how it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy. Oh my goodness. Right now, if you feel like you're on that path, I want you to go after your fears and tackle them and chase them off and just defeat those. Whatever obstacles are in your way, take care of those. Why? Why am I saying this? Because it'll be used against you. It'll be your test, and you have to be able to step over that. And it's not always Satan. It's God's way of saying, "Are you ready for the next step? Are you ready for this next level I'm about to put you at?" And you have to be ready for it.
Yeah. Be ready. I didn't know exactly where you were flowing, but yeah, I want to say
I knew you were gonna
every
say something. That's why I was like, "All right, I passed you the mic. Let's hear you say something now."
yeah, it's yeah, he wants to know if you're ready. He absolutely will send these tests, and it's just such a great feeling to know. Yes, I passed it. Sometimes I pass it with a C, and sometimes I ace the test. I pass it. Going through school when you saw that A on the paper or 100%, and you're like, I didn't believe I can do this, but I did. I did. And talk about, expressions of gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But passing these tests, because really, again, this isn't about us. This is about how we can inspire and impact and encourage others to continue pursuing him. And I like to say, doing the work of the kingdom and building the kingdom. And we only do that by just operating in our gifts, operating in our strengths. And where we are weak, but God has called us to a thing, to lean on him, to trust him again. Like you asked that question, do you trust him? Trust him. Trust him. Oh, he has never, he's never, he said he will never leave nor forsake us. And that is the truth. One of the questions I ask people when, they are kind of panicky or demonstrating some sort of anxiety about a situation, I said to them, when has it not worked out? Nobody can ever answer that. It may not have worked out the way you thought it would, but it worked out the way it was supposed to work out.
And the best feeling of it all, I mean, really, when you look at it too, is when you deal with a lot of tests and you go through a lot of tests, it's Old Testament, New Testament. And God wants you to embrace them tests, them challenges, them obstacles, and really say, nothing's impossible, and truly believe that. Because with God, you can accomplish anything. Anything. And really, when it comes to, like, when I say, chase your fears, be lion chasers is what they call it. Be lion chasers. Because when you do that, God will open doors, man. And not only that, but what makes it like when you do the impossible, think about it like this too on a deeper level. You're glorifying God. You're doing the impossible and you're showing his works. And that alone is the best feeling to just show that off to the world.
Yeah. It's funny, the dichotomy in this, that the word tells us that, Satan is roaming the earth, prowling like a lion. He's trying to get us like a lion, but he also has challenged us to be bold and courageous as a lion as well. So stand strong. Fight against that. Fight against those negative obstacles, those words that people say. Come against that. Tap into the power of God to do the work that he's called you to do. Whatever that plan is, that plan, that's between you and him, that instruction, that strategy. They call that wisdom. The word tells us that if you seek wisdom, he will give it to you, and he will. But tap into him to identify how you need to move about, and then trust that he's going to show up, and be bold. Stand tall. Stand tall in that. Be firm and courageous. Be as bold as a lion as you pursue and chase after your dreams, and chase after the purpose. Be a purpose chaser. See what that looks like to be in hot pursuit of purpose for your life. Yes.
Look at us having a church center over here, man. We're preaching. I hope everybody's feeling it right now. Because I'm on fire. I don't know about her, but I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
Lion chasers in the room. And that's really what you got to be, man, especially in this life. You want to make the most of it. You don't want to be in your rocking chair saying what if stories. You want to say that you accomplished everything that you set out to. And most importantly, though, let God lead you every step of the way. Ask that every morning when you wake up in your prayer. Add that to your prayer. Say, Lord, allow me to speak the right words at the right times. Allow me to speak, the wisdom that needs to be told to others. And most importantly, Lord, continue to lead me every step of the way of the righteous path. Say that prayer every day, and you're going to see it, man. I know I keep saying this over and over. You're going to see it, but I really want you to see it. I really want you to see it, because you have so much potential inside you. Like I said, you were created in the image of God, and that alone should get you going inside. It should light the fire, because really, you do. You have greatness inside of you, and you need to show it off to the world, man. Don't be afraid to show it off. Show it off, and you'll be so much happier. Anything you want to add to it?
No, you're absolutely right. There's greatness within, because the great I am is within us. So that's what I got.
Preaching, preaching, preaching.
Yeah.
Is there anything that we haven't covered yet in your story? Oh yeah. Actually, I want to talk about how did you're beginning to talk about how you were getting into coaching. How was it when you first started getting into coaching?
Yeah, so I dipped my toe in the water like many coaches, scared to charge. I came from a ministry background, so in church, I'm coaching all the time, not realizing that's what I was doing. But when I decided to do this as a profession, oh yeah, I started like most people. I had no idea what I was doing, didn't know how to charge, I didn't have my systems in place, all those things. And I sought support. I got a coach and got my back end together. I felt that the skill of coaching I had. I knew that I was called. At this point, I say I'm called to coach. In this season, I know that God has called me to encourage, and it looks like me coaching during this time. So I am definitely called right now. Coaching is not just a profession for me, but coaching is purpose, and that is my life. And so, some people, shut work off. They leave at 5 o'clock and work is done. That's not how it is for me. Everywhere I go, it's kind of like not really a coaching business, it's more like a coaching ministry. But yeah, I started like so many other people, not knowing what the heck I was doing. And over time I learned, I developed, I started life coaching. And I discovered that most people that wanted life coaching also wanted to know a lot about business. And I had a business, I had a brick and mortar store. I do have a lot of business background. So I was able to share in that. Okay, well, then I guess I will business coach. And then when I started, so I was life coaching, helping people with businesses. Then I shifted to business coaching, and I realized that everybody that I was business coaching needed help with their life. So I was like, Jesus, okay, what's going on here? So I went through a lot of coaching titles until I settled on lifestyle management coach. I will help you with your business and I will help you with your life. So that's what I was doing for many years. And then it hit me. My husband helped me realize this. He said, I said to him, I said, you know what? I have 7 clients right now. All of my clients are coaches. And my husband said to me, yes, Kelle, I was wondering when you were going to notice this. You coach coaches. You coach coaches. There were some other conversations we had that I guess I was just in denial that was what I was supposed to be doing. But so I've been in the coach of coaches space now since 2018. I've been coaching coaches and helping them scale their businesses, push past certain money milestones, so that they can continue to not only live in a life where they have abundance, but really actively gain the financial backing so that they can continue to build the kingdom of God. So I'm excited to be a part of so many women's lives. And these women, they're helping other women. And so I can't help everybody, but if a little bit of me is able to help other people, then I'm so satisfied with that. So yeah, that's how I landed in this coaching space. And again, they can't shut me up. Like I will share and encourage all day long.
Amen to that. But what's cool is like you're planting your seeds. Like you were saying, you're planting your seed from one coach and then they're passing it to the next coach. And that's where it starts, man. How do you
Yeah.
feel though? I mean, just to see it because you imagined it and then to see it all play out. How does it feel? Just kind of explain that. Just
Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna tell you it's very surreal right now. And I'm gonna be very specific in how I explain that. So I got on a social audio app. If it's okay, I'm just gonna say I got on Clubhouse app when it first started, and I was an observer, really like observing. And you want to talk? The voice of Satan was real loud. Kelle, you can't get on those stages. Kelle, you can't run rooms. Nobody wants to hear what you have to say. Don't you know that by now? I mean, it was really a daily battle, seriously, especially embarking on something new like that. And so people were very curious about what I had to say. And I started growing a following and I started getting more and more clients and just building a community and growing my coaching business and just really growing my brand awareness, if you will. And in November, I hosted a room with 3 other amazing people, and it was a power packed room. And so that day I said, I'm creating a club just for coaches. There are so many other coaches clubs on the app, but God, he placed it on me. So I created a club for coaches. and the club is growing, bustling. It's very robust now. Since November, we have it's almost at 3,000 members of faith-based coaches on Clubhouse. And it's very surreal for me how things have unfolded, because they are still unfolding, Chris. There's every day they're unfolding. God is showing himself mightily every single day. But we started a show called the Good Morning Kingdom Coaches Show. And what we envisioned for this show is not how it's playing out at all. God said, let me do this. And the coaches that come to the show, again, we're on the app, so they're just popping on their cell phones in the mornings, but the coaches that come in and the stories of gratitude and just transformation and freedom and deliverance and healing that takes place in these rooms has me in awe. Because, Chris, I'm not a pastor. I do come from a ministry background. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a minister ordained. Okay. But
Sure.
right, that's what my husband says. But the other people that I serve on stage with, most of the people, they are. And so I told my husband, even today, I said, it's so wild to me to think that even though I have no title, and I am so okay with that, I'm fine with that. I prefer it that way. I have no title, yet God has definitely used me and surrounded me with the people who know all the scriptures, who know how to lay out a good sermon, so to speak. He surrounded me with those people, and I just created the container. I just created the safe space for people to come in, feel free enough to be themselves. Yeah, it's surreal, and I'm still watching it unfold. It's not completely unfolded yet. I'm still, every day I have an expectation that God is going to show me something different and give me another answer to the why. Why did you choose me? Why? How did I get in this awesome position to be the curator of this community of kingdom coaches? I love it every single day. I'm amazed, astounded. Yeah.
And your most important note, though, in this time period, you have to learn to stay humble. You have to really stay humble, because that's what happens to a lot of us. Everything starts clicking, you're getting connections left and right, and before you know it, you're letting go of God's hand, and you're stepping into a different direction, going off. I'd say, I got this, and then that's when it starts to go downhill. But thankfully, I can see in your eyes, you know better. But I'm saying to anybody that's watching this, that's headed in that direction, and you're starting to get those connections, and everything's starting to click and pop off for you. Don't let go of God's hand. Continue to let him lead you every step of the way. Because the second you let go of God's hand, you're going to be asking yourself, what happened? What happened? But I totally agree with you, though. You're connecting to like-minded people just on all levels. God's opening the door left and right, and you're like, thank you, Lord. Thank you for allowing me just to be here, just to be in this moment. Thank you. And back to the spirit of gratitude. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for that reminder and that call to people to just remain humble. Oh my goodness, God cannot use us he can't use us when we're being arrogant. He can't use us when we're being prideful. He cannot use us when we are not extenders of grace. And he cannot use us when we decide not to forgive. And being in that place of humility, knowing that we are no thing without him. Being in that place that's where he can use us. Because here's the thing, and I'm specifically talking about my business, and no, this is life. This is life for me. If I take the credit, then he doesn't get the glory.
Exactly.
And that's not how this goes. And so he gets all the credit. I acknowledge that he uses me as the vehicle, but that's it. That's it. I can't do this in my own strength or power. I am nothing without him. And to remember that, and to continue to be humble and continue to thank him, and just acknowledge his goodness, his sovereignty in what it is that you do and how it is that you do it. Oh my goodness, just continue to do that. He will continue to then show himself. He loves that. He loves to be on display. He loves to be on display.
And that is why we go back to Jesus' teaching. He says what? When you want to follow him, deny yourself first. Because what does ego stand for? Do you know?
Tell me.
Edging God out.
I love a good acronym.
Edging God out, man. And that's why he says, deny yourself to follow me. Because as long as you stay humble, man, the doors will continue to open and the blessings will continue to flow. I know I sound like a broken record saying it, but it's the truth. It's the truth. Today,
Yeah.
folks, is another day, another blessing. And like she said earlier, you woke up today, man. Be grateful for that. That's a blessing. Be grateful that you're even being able to hear this and watch this show. Because at one time, this wasn't even possible. Just really, I mean, I know like I sound like a broken record, but just really begin to appreciate everything that's around you. And when you do that, man, you just show your thanks to God and appreciate him. It's only the beginning. It's only the beginning.
Yeah. It's only the beginning. Yeah, that's great.
Pastor C in the house. I'll see you next week. uh, what else we got? Did we cover everything?
Yeah. I think we've not everything, but my story is still unfolding. But yeah, we've gone through childhood to where I am today, and yeah, I think we're good. Yeah.
As we wrap this up, I always like to ask questions for you. Say somebody is kind of dealing with what you dealt with your mom, where they had this passion, this desire, and they really felt the strong calling that this is what they wanted to do with their life. This is what God's telling them to do. But their mom stepped in the room, their dad or their sister, somebody in their friends came and shut them down, told them that they're out of love, that the dreams that you're chasing are not meant for you. You're not supposed to do that. What would your advice be to that person right now that's listening or watching?
Yeah. So when you have that feeling that's so strong and is going against what people are saying, explore that feeling. Explore that. Look more into it, and even just to be practical with the paper and pencil, write down pros and cons. But really explore that feeling, and if you're a believer and you trust in the Lord, go to him for the answer. Ask him to show himself in the situation. I will tell you, the answers may not come immediately, but they do come when you're desperate enough to seek an answer for purpose in life or your existence, or but I really want this. Ask him, God, is this what I want, or is this what you want? He will show you. So the first point of advice I would give people, especially those of faith, is to seek him for the answer. Seek him for the answer. And I will caution you, be okay with what he tells you. He might tell you something that you feel that you're unable or unequipped to deal with. I would challenge you to believe that's exactly what he wants you to do. Something that you don't think you can, so that he can show you that with him and through him, yes, you can. And he will not be made a liar.
No.
Yeah, that would be the first thing. To go to Jesus, explore what that looks like. Explore that feeling that you have, that strong unction to go against the grain or go against what people are saying. I'm kingdom, right? And so one of the things I say is I don't do things like other people. I do things differently. I do, and I have to be okay with that. Even as a coach, there's these coaching norms and what these industry standards, and I'm like, all right, with your industry standard, let me see what Jesus says about this. And people are amazed. They're like, wait a minute, but when other people do this, look, I'm not like other people. I do things differently. And I'm okay with that because I've gone to God with my strategy. I've gone to God and asked him for the strategy. And he shows up every time.
You're going to the real coach, is what you're saying.
Yes, I go to the real coach.
I'm going to
Yeah.
the real coach, guys. That's where I'm seeking my advice.
Yeah.
All right, the bonus questions as we wrap this up. Out of all the places you have traveled, where was your favorite?
I love the Caribbean. I love the Caribbean. Now, we don't have time to go into some of the spiritual dynamics of the Caribbean that make me love it so much, but I absolutely love the Caribbean. And let me tell you, the first time I traveled out of the country, down south, I remember it was a cruise, and I remember looking out at the blue water, and I just had this emotional, spiritual breakdown. I don't know what you would call it, but I was just in tears standing at the port, at the dock, looking at the water. And I just could not, I could not believe what I saw before me. The same God that created this indescript water, the beauty of this blue water, you can't even describe how pretty the water is the same God that created me and all of humanity and all of creation. And I was just blown away. And then I looked at the sand, and I can't even count how many granules of sand there are. And that's how much more he loves me. He loves me more than that. And he loves you more than that. His love is, we can't even wrap our brain around how much he loves us. We can't even visualize and conceptualize how the beauty in his creation. And I got to see that. I got to see that. And so my experience was in the Caribbean. And every time I go back to the Caribbean, I'm like, this is the life right here, right here. Yeah.
All right, question number 2. Where did you meet your husband?
Oh, we met at church. Yeah, I sing. We want to talk about nobody hearing what I have to say. So I sing on the worship team, and so does he. And so we met at church. Yeah.
Sing us a verse.
Oh my goodness, so on the spot. Okay. Do you think the audience wants to hear a hymn?
Yes, I'd love to
Okay.
hear him.
Okay. Hope I remember the words. Okay. 'Tis so sweet to trust in Jesus and to take him at his word, just to rest upon his promise. I forget the rest of the words, but I'm gonna make something up. Oh, for grace to serve you more. Jesus, Jesus, how I trust you, how you prove me more and more. I know these words are wrong. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, oh, for grace to know, serve, love you more. Words all messed up, but yeah.
Look at God showing off, man, when he created you. He gave you that absolutely amazing, wonderful voice.
Thank you. Amen. Amen.
Man, showing off to the world. Uh, have you heard that the new song God turned it around?
By who?
I think it was John Reddick. I think that's what his name is. It's a newer song.
Mm-mm.
God turned it around.
I'm gonna write that down and I'm gonna listen to it.
Now that is a good song. A lot of people, I think, without a doubt, because it's exactly what the song title is. It's a guy singing about how he, got connected to his dad again because they have differences and whatnot. But it is definitely a story and a song to listen to, and it will, without a doubt, whatever you're going through. If you're going through something tough and you're just dealing with something, that you feel like is out of your hands, pop that song on and you'll be amazed.
God Turned It Around by John Reddick.
Yep.
I'm gonna look for
Play that song.
it. Yeah. Does he sing with any particular group?
No, I think he's by himself. I think he's.
Oh, I'm so curious. Okay, I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna look for it and listen to it. Okay, I see. I see it. The YouTube video. Okay, I'll listen to it later.
Okay. All right. The final question. Drum roll. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Any reason?
Yeah. So I've had dogs and I've had cats. Cats are too snotty for me. They have attitudes and they act prissy. No, if it could be a male cat or a female cat, they act prissy. Cats are loving, but they love in a different kind of way. They don't speak my love language. Cats don't speak my love language.
Yeah.
Dogs speak my love language. So I've had both, and no, I do like cats. I don't love cats, but I do like cats. I love dogs though. Love dogs.
All right. That was the final question. Um, if anybody wants to get in touch with you, get a hold of you, how can they do that?
Yeah, so they can reach me at justkelle.com. That's JUSTKELLEE.com. That's my website, and I am everywhere on social media. My name is spelled Kellee. My last name is Williams. So any variation of Just Kelle or Kelle Williams, you will be able to find me on almost every social media platform.
She's everywhere, folks. She's everywhere. I just want to say thank you for coming on and telling your story. Well, telling the beginning of your journey, because, like I said, it's only just beginning. It's only just getting started.
Yeah. I appreciate this, and yeah, it's just an honor to be able to serve in this capacity and to share this with your audience.
Thank you. And for the people that have made it this far, thank you for watching and listening. And if you'd like to come on yourself sometime, don't be afraid to message me. This is an open platform for everyone. You can tell your story exactly how Kelle just did from the very beginning. Talk about your testimony. That's okay here. A lot of platforms are kind of scared to go that far with it, but not here. I'm all for it. But anyway, this is Chris. I'm signing off here. Have a good night.